Welcome to Everything Casual, bringing you original football casual videos from the golden era of the 80s and 90s, right up to current day. Football away day stories and historic clashes between football firms. Subscribe so you don't miss out. We upload videos every week. Today we are going to have a good look into Everton's very famous firm, the County Road Cutters. They were highly dangerous, had big numbers, and have turned over a lot of crews. Also well represented for England games both home and away. They do have a nasty reputation for using blades. There are also rumours that they teamed up with Liverpool when they would face firms like Manchester United's Red Army. So, we are going to listen to facts and hear from one of the former top lads with the County Road Cutters, as he talks about what life inside the firm was really like and talks us through some of the big clashes and rows. But first, as always, we will have a quick look at the history and formation of the Cutters. Then we will hear from some of the Everton lads. Here goes. The County Road Cutters were, at their peak throughout the 1980s and early 90s, one of the largest hooligan firms in England. Their name derives from County Road, the long road leading up to Everton's home ground, Goodison Park, in Walton, Liverpool, and also from the firm's use of Stanley knives in fights with other hooligan firms. Members of the Cutters are known to be one of the first firms to adopt casual clothing and designer garments in the 1970s, along with hooligan supporters of local rivals Liverpool. The Cutters have been involved in a number of high-profile clashes with other firms, most notably in the year 2005 with the Red Army, a firm associated with Manchester United. Hooligan supporters of the two teams clashed outside Goodison Park after the game, in which Everton triumphed 1-0 thanks to a Duncan Ferguson-headed goal. The fight between the supporters is known as the Battle of Everton Valley, and is widely thought to be the worst incident of football-related violence Merseyside has ever seen. Around 100 United fans were left bloodied and injured, and within hooligan circles, the battle is widely regarded as a win for the County Road Cutters. Some sources claim that Liverpool FC hooligans joined forces with the Cutters to battle against the Red Army. According to Manchester United hooligan Colin Blaney, in his book Undesirables, the Cutters have also come to blows with Manchester United's Red Army firm over disputes stemming from both firms' involvement in illegal ticket touting at pop concerts. One of the County Road Cutters' battleground was Stanley Park. Many lads have suffered from ambushes and attacks in that park. The alleyways near to the ground are another hotspot too. Even ambushes the second visiting football firms stepped foot outside Lime Street Station was common. Anything was game whilst visiting Goodison Park. There have been many casualties, and in my opinion, Goodison Park was one of the most volatile places to visit in the golden era of football hooliganism. Andy Nichols was a Category C football hooligan, very well respected, and a top lad. This is what he had to say about the Everton firm. I was classified as a Category C risk to the authorities. I'm not bragging, but that is as high as you can get. I have served prison sentences for my involvement, and I've been deported from countries all over Europe and banned from attending football matches at home and abroad more times than I can remember. I will tell you another thing. When I was bang at it, I loved every effing minute of it. I have done most things in life, stayed in the best hotels all over the world, drunk the finest champagne and taken most drugs available. Nothing, however, comes close to being in your own mob when it goes off at the match. And I mean nothing. I say mob, because that's what we were, a nasty one too. Today's firms, gangs, crews, call them what you want, have missed the boat big time. We were about when it mattered, when the day wasn't wrapped up by police and CCTV or ruined because those you wanted to fight just wanted to shout and dance about, but do not much else, like many of today's rival pretenders do. We were there when you could get hurt very badly, sometimes even killed, Yes, it happened. On occasions, we killed each other. Football hooliganism in my day was a scary pastime. People ask, what made you become such a violent hooligan? Simple answer, the buzz. In my day, there was nothing else to do that came close to it. No Xbox, internet, theme parks or fancy hobbies. Football was one of the only hobbies available to young working class kids, and at the football, you were either a hunter or the hunted. I became a hunter. I looked for trouble and found it by the lorry load, as there were literally thousands of like-minded kids desperate for a weekly dose of it. Like a heroin addict craves for his needle fix, our fix was football violence. There were times when I thought to myself, give it up. Usually when I was in court, looking at another jail sentence, or, on one occasion, when I stood alongside a mate who was clutching his side, preventing his kidney from spewing out of his body after being slashed wide open when things came on top in Manchester. Those things happened. I'm not moaning about it. We gave more than we took. I have seen visiting fans at Goodison Park pleading not to be carved open after straying too far from the safety of their numbers. More often than not, those pleas fell on deaf ears. Every day that followed, when they looked in the mirror, there was a nice scar to remind them of their day out at Everton. Home games were great, but I preferred the away days, hundreds of scallies, descending on towns and cities and running amok. We were the first casuals, all dressed in smart sports gear and trainers, long before the rest caught on. London was our favourite trip. It was like a scene from The Warriors on every visit, the tube network offering the chance of an attack at every stop. I will give the London firms credit. They never disappointed. It wasn't just the firm of the team you were playing who you had to watch out for. You could bump into Millwall, West Ham United, Arsenal, or Tottenham Hotspur if you were playing Chelsea. We have literally fought for our lives on the London Underground with all of those. I'm still here to tell the tale. Result. Out on the streets there was money to be made. Tottenham in 1980 and the infamous smash and grab at a well-known jeweller's. There were 150 arrested, and it never even made the front page, never mind national TV. Why? Because it happened every week. Manchester was a tit-for-tat exercise. They would come to our place and cause bedlam, and we would go to theirs and try to outdo whatever they had achieved at ours. If that meant somebody like Job Henry got unlucky, well, it was nothing personal. Further up north was tough for us at times. The Yorkshire and North East firms were years behind in the football casuals era. It was men against boys. We laughed at their bother boots and beards. They still effing hit hard though. Sheer weight in numbers and a streetwise sense of general evilness saw us through at such places. We are evil, we used to chant. Why? Because we were? That was the club scene. And then there's following England, the craziest days of our lives. Up to 5,000 mindless thugs. I won't flower it up. That's what we were visiting, and basically pillaging and dismantling European cities, leaving horrified locals to rebuild in time for our next visit. Such was the case in Luxembourg in the year 1983, when my mob actually chased the local army. What a fine sight! Armed troops running for their safety. Such was the ferocity of our attack on them when they tried to reclaim the contents of a designer clothes shop we had just relieved of its stock. It couldn't last forever, and things changed dramatically following the Heysel disaster. I was there, by the way, as a guest of the Liverpool lads. Yes, we used to get on, when 39 Juventus fans lost their lives. Things changed forever. Policing was increased, and we found ourselves hated worldwide. The English disease had gone a game too far. We kept at it in smaller numbers, but the scene was dying on its knees. Police intelligence, stiffer sentences and escapes like ecstasy, selling or taking it, provided a way out for many. Personally, I grew up 10 years and a broken marriage too late. I managed to leave it behind and realised my connections and reputation could make, not cost, me money. These days, the young lads involved in the scene deserve some credit for trying to salvage the culture. They face almost impossible obstacles with today's high-profile policing, and the end result will usually be a prison sentence, such is the authorities' importance on preventing the bad old days returning. They should never return. The all-seater stadia, conditions and facilities at the match won't allow it. Plus, there is so much more to do. We have Xboxes, internet, theme parks and fancy hobbies to keep us busy. I say to the young lads at it today, be careful, give it up. It's just not worth the grief in this day and age. Is almost certain jail worth it for 5 minutes of madness, as that is all you get now? Hand on heart, I'd say it's not. When we talk about Everton and the county road cutters, we have to mention Kelly's heroes. They are the mob that came before the cutters, and also had big numbers with lots of top lads. This is what Andy Nichols says about them in his book Scallies. Another mob that was insane was Kelly's heroes. Like the commander in the film of the same name, Kelly would take his troops behind enemy lines and cause murder. They stayed with the main firm most of the time, but at the odd time you would see them fighting in the home end, or hear that a pub had been stormed, and word would get back that Kelly's heroes had done it. They were very naughty, and very active. In this video so far, we have talked about the many violent clashes between Everton and Manchester United. As I am a neutral, it's only fair and right we talk about what happened to Manchester United Red Army lad Job Henry during a clash with the county road cutters. This is what Andy Nichols said about the incident. Things reached a peak in 1982 when on a Wednesday night about 400 went to Old Trafford in September for a league game. It was completely calm beforehand, with the busies collaring us in town and giving us a huge exit up to the ground. Just at the top of Warwick Road, we burst out of the escort and steamed United all over the forecourt. Everton were all chanting, "Munich," and there was mayhem. They had never seen anyone taking so many liberties on their home patch. We lost the game 2-1, and then tried something for the first time that was to be our ploy for the next 10 years. We waited and came out last, then did a right behind the main body of fans, and then a left, leaving all the fans and hangers-on to go their merry way back to the station while we walked into battle with arguably one of the top firms in England. If you want it, you get it in Manchester. There will always be a moody firm hanging about. It may not be the top boys, but when you are taking the piss on their patch, even the fishwives want to see you get your arse slashed and are ready to pour vinegar in the wound. Anyway, during the scrap, a tough 19-year-old black lad named Job Henry was very badly cut across his back. He suffered 6 slash wounds that needed more than 200 stitches. The story was all over the papers. The media portrayed Job as a promising young boxer whose career was ended that night by a Scouse coward carrying a Stanley knife. Everton, for their part, had him down as one of United's lads. Either way, he was a tough game lad who came unstuck when his mates did one, and he got whipped up as he tried to follow suit. Nobody deserves that many stitches, but it wouldn't have happened if he hadn't been dancing with the United firm. There was a lot of racist crap going around about the cutting, but it had absolutely nothing to do with his colour. There was also more rubbish going around that the lad that did the slashing carved the letters EFC in Job's back. Again, that is absolute nonsense. So it's clear to see that Everton and Manchester United have history, hatred and rivalry off the pitch after many nasty clashes, but both firms do respect and rate each other. Everton have also had big rows with Millwall, and at the time Millwall were one of the biggest and nastiest firms in England, so you can imagine how nasty and violent these clashes have been. I haven't gone into detail about the Everton-Millwall clashes, or Everton-Manchester United ones too much. That's because I will be putting out a video soon that just focuses on Everton's rivals and go into depth about the clashes then. It's also worth noting that Everton have had it off with the likes of Birmingham City Zulus and the Leeds service crew, amongst others. There has been so many incidents involving Everton over the years. What sets them apart is they take huge numbers away with them to other cities, even abroad. Take this article, for example, that I am about to read out, following Everton lads travelling to London. 3 football fans were arrested in the King's Cross area of London today in an incident being blamed by some press outlets on Everton fans. The authorities and emergency services were called to the scene on Caledonia Street last evening after what was described as a large group of hooligans clashed outside the Miller's pub. According to the Evening Standard quoting Scotland Yard, 1 man was taken to hospital with head injuries, which police said were not life-threatening or life-changing. 3 others were arrested, 2 on suspicion of affray and another on suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm, GBH. While the Standard took a more responsible angle by merely reporting that Everton, Hull and Newcastle were playing in the city, today the Mirror has seized upon a tweet by a Newcastle fan and the claims of the pub's landlord, which implicate Evertonians in the incident. Their report suggests that small children were believed to be among the victims punched and kicked by the mob. Everton have also had a few run-ins with Chelsea. One of the most famous ones was dubbed the Battle of Edgware Road. I obviously wasn't there. I have been told 2 different stories, one that Everton came unstuck and took a bit of a hiding. The other story is that Everton turned Chelsea over on their own patch. If you know the truth and what really happened, then please let me know in the comment section. All I can do is look at witness accounts from both sides, which is what we will do now. This is what a Chelsea lad said about the row. In August 1978, Everton fans travelling to an away fixture at Stamford Bridge suffered a terrible beating off the pitch as a well-organised Chelsea mob attacked them en route in the tube station at Kensington High Street. Now, in a time when the city rivalry was more friendly, outraged Scousers joined together and sprayed the infamous graffiti outside Lime Street Station for everyone to unite together for Liverpool's corresponding fixture and serve the Cockney hordes with some payback. It simply read, "Ordinary to Chelsea." And now, here is Everton's take on the incident. The cast assembled, as they usually did for London games, at the Bonington Hotel on Southampton Row. The guys were in good spirits, optimistic about our prospects for the afternoon game with Chelsea at the Bridge. After all, we were the champions. We came from all over the UK, bound together by our love for Everton. We had met over a number of years going back to the early 70s, seeing each other at the match. Our hostelry of choice for home games was the Royal Oak. We set off in good time and made it trouble-free to the ground. In those days, Stamford Bridge was not the bastion of the prawn sandwich that it is today. The away terracing was uncovered, and there was some distance between it and the pitch. The infamous shed was at 11 o'clock as you looked down the ground. As we took up our positions, it started to rain. As the train we were on pulled into Edgware Road tube station, it was attacked by literally hundreds of Chelsea fans who proceeded to attack the train with baseball bats, bricks, metal bars, and their Dr. Martens. The next few minutes were mad. Having attacked the train unhindered for some time, the Chelsea fans were dispersed by more police than I have ever seen in one place at the same time. Standing in our impregnable steel tube, this was all very amusing. Once the platform was clear, we expected that we would head on our way. However, the doors opened and the police set about us, getting us off the train onto the platform. They gave everyone who came within arm's length a good whack. I escaped and turned to see a young lad being battered over the head by a guy in civvies with a set of handcuffs. All over the platform there were fights going on. 20 minutes later, after the mayhem had subsided, myself and a friend found the young lad, he was 14, sitting on the exit steps with blood pouring down his face from a number of head wounds. Living in London, we knew that St Mary's Hospital was opposite the station exit. We explained and asked if we could take him to A and E, and were told in no uncertain terms by the police, blocking the stairs, that nobody is leaving the station. At that point, the lad's father found us. He was an off-duty Merseyside police officer. He showed his warrant card, and still they would not allow the lad treatment. I hope you enjoyed the video. Look out for my Everton and their rivals and clashes video coming soon. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you subscribe, you will be notified when we release a new video. It could be your firm we make a video about next, so don't miss out and hit the subscribe button. You can find me on Facebook or email me if you have a good story to tell. See you next time.